Hey everybody, welcome back. We're doing another Marvel Future Revolution video, another in the beginners series. This is going to be episode 8. We're going to be talking about some of those mats, what should you be worried about, early bottlenecks, that sort of thing. So what can you hold, items you need to be careful of, items you maybe just can spend willy-nilly, that sort of thing. And some of this is kind of, we're still figuring out, so early in the game and things could change as it goes, but these are the things we're seeing early on. If you're new to the channel, check out the Discord link in the description below, hammer down like buttons, subscribe, all that kind of thing. All right, let's check it out. Okay, so first things first, gold. Now you will see that I have a buttload of gold at the moment, 5 million. But I will say that given your alliance donations, this is a max of 100,000 each day. And on top of that, with skills, once you get to level 100, once you get, I think it's level 11, 12-ish, all the way up to 15, all of these skills are like crazy expensive, 80 to 100 plus thousand per. Now, black metal is my main, so you see I've got everything at 15, okay? Now, if you've got a bunch of other characters, that you're leveling, which you're going to eventually do because you need that squad power, you're not going to want to use all that gold on every single skill because if it's not your main, who cares, right? You might be able to get what you need out of it very easily. So gold, while you can see like I've got some, I actually did more than I should have here, but some of my other ones, I've got just level 1. And then I have 5 abilities that I've got built up, and the rest of them I didn't touch because there's no real point to do that. So you want to save the gold because gold, I do think now at first, so my main thing here is gold feels like a large bottleneck at first, but you start getting a bunch later. I'm still a little skeptical that that's going to be a problem, or that's going to be that kind. So now you can see level 1 and then 10, 10, 9, whatever, right? So, I 72, right? 79 for the next one, 72, 79 for the next one. So like I said, that gets expensive, plus unlocking if you want to do that. So gold wise, definitely be weary. One of the things that I do think that, you got to be careful of is I think at some point there's going to be more need for it. I don't know how, where, what, why, but I would be careful with it. You do get way more later on your alts. Do what I did with Strange here with the skills. That's what I'm going to say about this. Belaboring a little bit, but you get the idea. So that way, just in case you've got it. Okay. So that's gold. Okay. Next up, we're going to talk about Syn Particles, which are these versus synchronized particles. I did this in another video, I think the episode just before this, but I do want to mention this because it's insanely important. These Syn Particles are, I think, probably the biggest bottleneck in the game. Okay, so you got to be careful with these. You need a lot of them for these crafting in the workshop. I'm not going to go over how that works. That's going to be a separate, video. And then the other part, we'll go over to our convergence box. You've got synchronized particles. Okay, so you can use these when you extract. You drop some things in here. We covered that in another video. Get more of these, and then you can use these synchronized particles in here to get something here. So again, there's synchronized particles, and then there's Syn Particles. And the Syn Particles, very, very big bottleneck. You very much care about those. Make sure you run your special ops every day to get those. Synchronized particles, well, you don't get a lot of them. Frankly, I don't really care because I don't really ever want to open this. So until this changes, whatever. Maybe at some point I'm saving these. So that's where I'm at with those two. Okay, next topic here, we've got portal keys. So as you're probably aware, you've got all these portals. See this little thing right here? If you're not aware, that's a portal. These little orange things, you take that portal to pop somewhere else, right? So you might wonder, well, should I spend all of these? I don't know. Like that seems like a lot, right? So I might run low on these. It's okay to use those as much as you need to get around the map. I will tell you that right now. The reason being, and I use it to get around there's a boss over there. I want to get that boss. I need to get to that area quicker. Or I'm in dark zone and I want to pop around. The reason being is they are in the consumable section of the shop. They are not expensive. I know we talked about gold earlier. This is another thing that you want to use gold on, okay? They're cheap. Don't stress about it. 50k gold for something like that, you're going to be fine. So these are easy. Do it. Use it whenever you need. Okay, next up, Convegium Crystals. You'll see these things all over the board. This is a way to get it. So if you see one of these things on the map, it's like, oh, what is that? You click it and you get it. Yay, I got an unstable Convergium particle. You get a bunch of those, right? So there's my unstable Convergium particles. You can see I've currently got 7,000 of these. Now, do I go around picking mushrooms, as we call them, like that? No, I do not. All right, so I've got a lot of that. You also get them from dismantling badges. So running blitzes, doing AFK farming, you get these sort of badges. So you want to dismantle, quick version, just go 1, 2, and you get it. Go, and then, hey, unstable, I get those. So instead of running around picking these things, just do your blitz farming, do your AFK farming, and you'll get that and gold, right? So do that every day. Make sure you do it. You'll get a bunch of those, and those actually build up into higher level items where you'll see that we've got 3. So these unstable Convergium particles turn into stable Convergium particles. The stable Convergium turn into crystallized Convergium particles. So all 3 of these are linked. Obviously, you need a bunch of these unstable ones to build into the stable, and then a bunch of the stables to build into the crystallized. What do we need all these for, right? Do they matter? Yes, very much so. Be wise about how you get these. Let's check out what we need these for and how to get them. All right, so you use these things on almost anything you craft, right? So first up, we've gone to this thing a bit, the workshop. You can see I've got both the crystallized and I need the stable. So I need the 2 middle ones, the green and the blue, right? So that's, you know, for any of these, they all got them, right? These are set amounts. For this, same thing. I need some. Now, if I ever want to make these, I never make these, like I said in my other video, but whatever. So now, if I need to make the stable, or if I need to make the crystallized, I can very easily do this. All right, so it's max. All right, I need to make, you know, another 100 of the stable. All right, so it's 40k gold. 500 of those, I get 100 total. Yay! I get 100 of these, you know, stable ones. Great. Now it's like, all right, now I've got the crystallized ones. I need a bunch of those. All right, so let's make a bunch of those. I'm not going to make 16. Let's just make 10, all right, for the time being, or whatever number, 13. All right, so then you turn it into that, right? So now I'm able to make those, yay. And look at this, you know, a special treat for this video. I've actually just finished an undefined Ruru crafting. Let's see what we get. Probably nothing good. Of course, nothing good. No regional, and that's just kind of how it is. So having got those, like I mentioned earlier, that's what you're using this stuff for, right? So this is what I'm normally doing here. I'm like, I was doing 10 or whatever I had at max, and I use those particles, right? So this is one spot to use them. There's a few more. All right, so now we got the core synthesizer. We covered this in another video, and we'll cover it a little bit more in another one. But you can see here, all right, so this is the simpler one where I've just got the unstable ones. So those are the cheap ones, the easy find ones, and it's 100%. I don't really care. Fine. I've got so many of those. I'm not stressed about them. There is some talk about maybe that this might not be the best use of your particles. I've been doing blitz every day, so it's not a big deal for me. But as you get to these 3-star and up, you can see you start needing these crystallized as well as these stables. So, and it's only a 50% chance. So if this fails, those are basically all wasted, right? So this is another spot to use these. Be wary here. I'll cover this more in a separate video, but you are using those particles in this section too. And one more spot we want to talk about is the costume augmenter. This is probably the more important spot to use these crystallized versions, is that you're going to get them here. All right. So in this particular one, you're using the stables, right? And that's just from 1 to 2. You need to make sure you never run out of these when you're doing this. This is absolute. You must do it. The core one, again, we'll debate that in another video, all that kind of thing. Here, you definitely need to do it. And you can see as you get higher, you're needing, and from 2 to 3, you're all of a sudden starting to use the crystallized, right? So as you actually get higher and higher, you're going to need more of those particles, right? And you can see I just put a 3-star in there. The numbers are going up, right? So now it's 3, 10, 50. All right, now let's check a 4. What does a 4 take? All right, well, 5, 15, 100. Okay, so you clearly need a bunch of those, right? I unfortunately don't have, well, let's see if it'll let me do it, but yeah, so you start needing more and more and more of these, right? So you really do need to be careful with where you spend those. This is an important aspect of the game. If you're going to take anything away from this video, definitely be careful with these, okay? These unstable Convergium particles, the stable Convergium particles, and the crystallized Convergium particles. One item that's real that I do want to talk about is these enhancers. I never use these, but I'd feel free to use them, especially the greens and the blues as you level, or if you get into any sort of tough spot, use them as needed. That's my recommendation there. I wouldn't stress too much about that. Use them on bosses, etc. All right, another thing that's in your inventory is these anti-convergium items, right? Now you get these, and we've talked about this before, but you get them in raids, and where you're going to use these is in your specialization. So it's one way to rank up your characters, is you've got all of these different little, items. Like I can increase my HP recovery. I can do all these things with these particles, and you got to be smart. So you don't get a lot of these at first. It's all about raids, but I will say, even as someone who didn't raid a lot early on, you can see I'm almost done with all the outside versions. Now, as you get to these, the actual rate of success drops dramatically. I can't here. So this one, it shows like it's a 40% rate, success rate, and it's pretty expensive. This one, 30% rate to go from 8 to 9. It's gonna be even lower, and you can see like I'm going to be needing a lot of these mats. So I would say when you get to this, and again, another video, just map it out a little bit. Be wise about where you spend those, okay? One thing that I kind of regret a little bit is these enhancement, or the potential enhancement material for, it's a report red room training log. You use those on your enhanced potential. What I would have maybe considered, and I'm not sure this is right or not, but with Widow, I maybe would have considered getting further down her tree in the crit damage or crit rate section as opposed to maybe attack. I don't know that because I haven't run the math on it, but I will say with a character like Spider-Man, when you go there, you're going to want to go down his dodge as much as you can. Don't just do every one. Look at it, think about it. You're going to want to map it out depending on the character, which one you're going to focus so you can get all the way down, because at this point, I'm Black Widow and I'm done leveling all these things. I don't get a lot of these each day. Be wise with those. Those are pretty rare unless you want to drop some cash. Similar but different, you've got these PIM research log, the Stark's blueprint, and the Fury's classified data. These three right here. Use these whenever you can. You don't need to worry about it. Where you get those is in your squad power down here. When you get them, there's no place else to use these other than this. So just when you get them, use them. And one of the other items that we talked about, or a little bit, or Lucy talked about, is regional materials. Uru's the Midgardia one. I've got material from New York, Stark City, for Hydra. All of these, they're called regional materials. So with those, it's like, well, what am I going to do with that? How much do I need to save of it? You can see with Uru, I've got 3,000. But that is because I've done AFK farming overnight with that. When you're going to use it, and we talked about this shop before, is you're really going to use it on whatever regional gear piece or attempt that you're going to have, right? So this item's for Hydra, and you've got the the Xander star looking thing, and then you've got the Stark metal pipes and all that, and then the Toyo Sand from Sakaar. So you're going to need a bunch of that to do this. But again, I mentioned this earlier, the Syn Particles are going to be what ends up being your bottleneck here. If you're farming at all, FK farming at all, Uru or whatever you're farming is not going to be prime. You're going to get a ton of it, okay? But I still kind of be a little wise with it, I guess. But really, this is the only spot I found to even use it in. One of the main currencies in the game is crystals. This is basically your in-game money, so to speak. You use this for raids, refreshes. You could refresh any other type of thing. I do not recommend refreshing mutts outside raids, and even for that, I wouldn't do it often, because as you saw, even in my specialization tree here, I'm doing pretty decent on it. Not great, but I have not, and I've refreshed raids a bunch, but unless this thing gets expanded a bunch soon, I feel pretty comfortable in finishing this out, sometime in the next couple months or close to it, which I'll be fine with. It's like, okay, great. So I wouldn't worry too much about that aspect of it. And then of course, there's a bunch of offers in game that you can spend crystals on. I highly recommend if you've got a bunch of crystals or you're spending money in the game, the costume tickets or the Omega card tickets, you're going to want to spend them on stuff like that. But those crystals are important on top of, needing it for expansion of your actual, your squad as well. There's 400 crystals. The crystals are all over the place in this thing. So you need those. Don't just spend them like crazy. I should have mentioned this earlier, but the health pots, those are auto. So it's just buy them when you need them. So that's what I got for this. Hopefully this was helpful. I wanted to cover a couple mats. I'm gonna have to trim down the video a little bit, but yeah, hopefully it's helpful to you guys and you kind of get some idea where some bottlenecks are and where to spend some things. So if you're new to the channel, like I mentioned, Discord link in the description below. Hammer down like button, notification bell, subscription button, all those things. Until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day.